I still remember the exact sound the door made when it closed behind me. Not a slam, not dramatic, just a soft, final click. That was the moment I knew I'd been dismissed. The office smelled like stale coffee and polished wood. The man across the desk, Gregory Hale, had already leaned back in his chair, fingers laced, eyes drifting toward his computer screen instead of my face. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't insult me. He didn't have to. He smiled the way people do when they've already decided you're not worth arguing with. "I don't think this is the right fit for us," he said. I nodded, because that's what you do when you're trying not to look small. My hands were folded tight in my lap, nails digging into my skin. I could feel my pulse in my ears. He added one more thing, almost as an afterthought. "Come back when you have more stability." That word stayed with me as I walked out past the glass walls, past the quiet desks, past people who wouldn't remember my face by lunchtime. Stability. At that point, all I had was an idea, a notebook full of numbers, and a belief I couldn't yet prove, and the bank knew it. I had spent 3 weeks preparing for that meeting. I'd practiced my pitch in the mirror of my apartment bathroom because it was the only quiet place I had. I'd worn my one good blazer, the one with a frayed seam I kept telling myself no one would notice. I arrived early, sat straight, spoke clearly, and still, it wasn't enough. Not because the idea was bad, not because the numbers didn't work, but because I didn't look like someone they trusted. I was 27. I didn't come from money. I didn't have a last name anyone recognized. No safety net, no family backing, no polished resume full of comfortable logos, just me. And that made them nervous. When I stepped outside, the city felt louder than usual. Cars rushing by, people moving fast, purposeful. I stood on the sidewalk longer than I meant to, holding my folder against my chest like it might protect me from the weight pressing down. For a few minutes, I let myself feel it. The embarrassment, the doubt, the quiet fear that maybe they were right. Then something else crept in. Anger. Not the explosive kind. The cold, steady kind that settles in your bones and refuses to leave. I didn't say it out loud, but I thought it clearly. Fine, I'll do it without you. The early days were ugly. There's no romantic way to say that. I worked out of my apartment, which doubled as an office, warehouse, and sometimes dining room. My desk was a folding table. My chair didn't match. I tracked expenses on a whiteboard because I couldn't afford proper software yet. I funded the first version myself. Small savings, late nights, credit cards. I promised myself I'd pay off quickly. I learned how to stretch $1 until it almost snapped. I negotiated with suppliers who didn't take me seriously. I answered emails at 3 in the morning. I packed shipments by hand, labeling boxes while reheated leftovers cooled on the counter behind me. Some days, nothing moved. No new orders, no progress, just silence. Other days, one small win felt like oxygen. The first repeat customer, the first referral, the first month where I didn't lose money. I didn't celebrate loudly, I couldn't afford to, but I noticed. I learned where to push and where to wait. I made mistakes, real ones that cost time and money, but I didn't pretend they didn't happen. I adjusted, I listened, I kept going. People talk about hustle like it's glamorous. It's not. It's lonely. It's choosing not to quit when no one's watching and no one's clapping. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, it started to work. The turning point didn't come with fireworks. It came with a phone call. A small regional client wanted to scale. They liked our approach. They trusted the numbers. They asked if we could handle more volume. I said yes before I fully knew how. Then I figured it out. That deal led to another, then another. The operation grew out of my apartment and into a shared workspace, then into a modest office that smelled like fresh paint and ambition. I hired carefully. People who believed, but also questioned me. People who weren't impressed by titles, only results. We moved fast, but not reckless. Every decision stacked on the last. Every risk calculated, measured, absorbed. Competitors noticed. Some tried to copy us. Some underestimated us. I didn't correct them. Years passed, but I barely felt them. Time compresses when you're building something bigger than yourself. By the time the numbers started to look impressive on paper, I'd stopped thinking about the bank entirely. Almost. The opportunity came quietly. A financial advisor slid a document across a table during a routine meeting. It was thick, dense, boring to anyone who didn't know how to read between the lines. I skimmed. Then I slowed down. A mid-sized regional bank was struggling. Poor leadership decisions. Aging infrastructure. A board divided on the future. The name hit me like a pulse. Hale and Crest Financial. The same building, the same logo, the same glass walls. For a moment, I didn't say anything. The room felt still. "Is this?" I started, then stopped. My advisor waited. I leaned back and exhaled. It wasn't revenge I felt, not satisfaction. It was clarity. This wasn't about settling a score. This was about recognizing an opportunity everyone else was too comfortable to see. We didn't rush. We didn't announce. We studied. We negotiated. We waited when patience gave us leverage and moved when hesitation would cost us. Behind closed doors, people underestimated me again. They assumed I'd get emotional, that I'd push too hard, that I'd make it personal. I didn't. I made it precise. When the deal finalized, the reaction was immediate. Confusion, shock, a few nervous laughs from people who suddenly realized the ground beneath them had shifted. I didn't attend the announcement. I waited. The day I walked into the building, the lobby looked exactly the same. Same marble floor, same quiet hum, same front desk, but everything felt different. Conversations softened as I passed. People glanced up, then away. A few recognized me, most didn't. Gregory Hale stood near the elevators, mid-conversation, confident as ever until he saw me. The pause was subtle, a fraction of a second too long. I met his eyes. There was recognition, then disbelief. Then something like understanding settling in. I didn't smile, I didn't gloat, I just nodded. He nodded back, slower this time. No words were necessary. I walked past him and into the boardroom where the windows overlooked the city I'd once stood outside of, holding a rejected folder and pretending I was fine. I took my seat at the head of the table. The room fell quiet. And in that silence, I felt it, not triumph, not victory, but something steadier. Belonging, not because they had finally accepted me, but because I no longer needed them to. I still think about that first meeting sometimes, not with bitterness, with gratitude. Because if they had said yes, I might have built something smaller, safer, dependent. They didn't see stability in me, so I built it myself. And when I walked back out of those doors later that day, the sound was the same, a soft, final click. Only this time, it wasn't closing me out, it was closing the circle.